Have you ever wondered why it is that sometimes you rush in finishing something and there might be some mistakes or it's a little bit sloppy, and deep down, if you're very honest with yourself, that you could have done better, but there is kind of that sense, I don't care, it's done kind of attitude with it. And on the flip side, at times you may procrastinate or delay to something till the very last minute or even till it's too late kind of thing, right? So what is driving that behavior within us? What is underneath that? Because it creates some friction within our body, right? When we are doing that, it doesn't make us feel very fulfilled and satisfied with life and inspired and motivated and all this, right? That we long so. Let's have a look what's underneath this. And how this often plays out is when there's a lot of childhood trauma and abuse and that emotional neglect or that constant criticism in your life. And that can be at home or it can also be at school, right? If you're someone with learning difficulties like I was, and teachers are constantly correcting you, that can start in kindergarten age, really, right? How often do we tell children oh, why do you use this color and not that? And oh, no, it's meant to be this way, right? We constantly correct them. We don't let them express or explore their own creativity, right? But I'm assuming you being here, that was kind of very exaggerated. There was a lot of this happening, right? So for myself, at some point in my life, there was this one event, and that was the mark for me, where I kind of just shut it down. And for in that moment, I made that deal or that contract or this rule with myself that I no longer care. Can you see that? Did that happen in your life too? It might not even have been a conscious decision. I might not be fully aware right in this moment. I was oblivious to this for a long time. But this is a protective mechanism, right? In childhood, we kind of depend on the adult figures, and we need that nourishing and that love and that appreciation, and that someone kind of, I don't know, geeks out about you, what you're doing, and compliments and that kind of stuff. We need that in childhood. And when that wasn't there, we kind of come up with different ways of protecting ourselves. So for me, it was that rule that I created for myself that I no longer care, right? And how this unfolded is especially like in teenage years, the way I dressed, for example, or the way I had my hair and stuff. So I don't care, right? If it's messy, I don't care, right? And when I'm doing things or activities, like I love knitting, right? Knitting is a very calming kind of activity for me. So I wasn't procrastinating on that, but when I was doing this very messy. There would be lots of mistakes, but I don't care, right? It's done. Right. Just me wearing it, right? It's that kind of attitude. So in adult life, it comes back to us bringing awareness to whether you can remember that time point or not, but that you have a rule or a contract within your own systems, that agreement that you made with yourself, and that came to place as a protective mechanism to keep you safe, or to shield you a little bit from all this criticism that hurts so deeply, right? It's just deep. I was doing a lot of work on this to unfold that, like just shining a light on it and knowing that this is what happened wasn't enough, right? Even just now knitting, it's a constantly reminder to creating that, and that I can take my time, and that it is safe for me to now care about this, care to change and express who I am, right? To wear things the way I want, to do my house or place the way I want, all these kind of things that is safe for me to care right now. Right? In childhood, we didn't have that option. We were so dependent on other people, right? There's not much we can do. But now in adulthood, to keep bringing it back to, I'm in an adult body right now. It's 2024. I have more options available to me. right? I can allow myself to feel safe in allowing myself to be creatively expressive. Is that creative expression, right? This is kind of human need. That brings joy, that is inspiration, that is passion, that's love, right? We want that. And our childhood trauma or a very stressed out mind, or when our PTSD is flared up, it shuts all this down. It shuts down the playfulness. It shuts down the creativity, right? That kind of thing. And we go into that I don't care, I'm not motivated, I don't, whatever kind of attitude, right? But when we're in that thing, there's also, I don't know, it's hard to explain that kind of emotion. That there's a feeling, there's a heavy weight with this, right? Because I know it's not true. Deep down, if I'm very honest with myself, it's not true that I don't care, right? So I just wanted to share that with you guys, just because it came up, because I was doing this beanie for myself, right? And I really paid attention to what kind of thoughts are coming up, right? Because sometimes when we're actually in the motion of doing something, there's thoughts coming up, and then you can shine, oh yes, that's why. Yes, I remember this. And we can almost, like, I like putting things in love bubbles and send them away, right? Because sometimes maybe perhaps it was a well-meaning, well-intentioned teacher, who knows, not everyone in our childhood actually had toxic, harmful intention behind the actions, right? Some things just happen. But whatever people said to me, I like to put it in kind of a love bubble and send it away, and not let that thought rule how I behave or what I do right in this moment, right? Because once you're aware, like I always say, then we're having a choice again. We're having a pause, or we can pause long enough to realize, oh, is that attitude of I don't care going to help me have a richer, more meaningful life? Does that bring that fulfillment, that desire, that inspiration back into my life? Or is it actually just keeping me stuck in those old kind of patterns, that old kind of I am not enough kind of stories, and I'm a failure and all this kind of stuff, right? So what is usually at the very core of this is that fear of humiliation, right? Like I said before, there's this constant criticism that is happening or was happening for many of us underneath that now, that it's a human fear of humiliation, right? We have that kind of need to belong or to be together in communities and stuff. When we are humiliated, then it's more that fear of abandonment and rejection, right? Can you see how deep that can go, that I don't care attitude, right? What the very core, the driving energy that comes, where it comes from, and that is why it's so impactful, and it has us in the crypts, right? So we kind of soften up a little bit, open us up, right? It's like that is there. I can make space for these very uncomfortable feelings now in my adult body, right? I can go and look for a therapist or coach or mentor, whoever you're working with, and I can ask for help to really process some of that. Teach me how I can be with these really uncomfortable sensations and still feel safe, right? To teach my nervous system again that it is safe for me to have a fear pop up of humiliation, and hold this in a way so that I can still act in my what feels aligned with me, in my integrity or value systems, or whatever you have to, or what inspires you, right? To bring it back to that. But sometimes we need some help around that, and that's totally okay. Some of you, that idea or that thing might have just triggered something. It's like, oh yes, I have a rule like this as well, right? You may have a rule that I cannot depend on other people, right? We have rules like that we set up in our childhood that helped us to protect us, to keep us safe. To always bring it back. They had a function, a very important function, right? We want to honor that. We want to thank our younger version for coming up with this very creative idea in a very difficult situation, right? Came up with it. But now I can reassess that. Is that still serving me? well, do I want to continue my life like this? Or am I open to try out something new? Can always go back to the old ways, right? There's always an option there. So I just wanted to point that out to you. And as always, sending you lots and lots of love and rainbows to brighten up all these tough times and that we can go through, right? And that can feel like roadblocks, but when we kind of shining a light on it and putting a rainbow with it and bring some more colors back in to kind of become a bit more playful, a bit more open to more and new options that are available to us in adult life.